And we are live on this very beautiful Thursday evening. And we are officially 3 games away from Banner 18. Drew, how are you doing today? We're going to do a post-game analysis and immediate reaction and review of this game. How are you feeling after this one?
I'm good. Watched a good basketball game here. You know what? Let's let's take me out of this for the equation for a second. I have a question for you.
Okay.
I just want to know, as a lifelong Dallas Cowboy fan, how it feels to actually have one of your teams win an important game.
Um, you
I know
know,
this
I,
is new for you.
it's huge. That's for sure, but it's almost just being there. I know we were just there for 2 years ago, but being there, the emotions from that, sitting there and watching the theatrics and the pregame stuff, and the national anthem, lights going dark, the whole nine, just it all just kind of culminating together is a lot of stuff going on there for me. And then winning the game, I'm on my feet 90% during that game. My wife doesn't even want to get near me when I'm watching the game today. I'm like, oh, you can go ahead and sit out here. She's like, no, I like you better when your volume's like way, way lower than where it was. So I was on my feet the entire time. Very exciting stuff. I was only sitting when it started to get a little bit close when they dropped that lead down to 8 points. I was getting a little bit nerve wracking. Very frustrating
Little
during
nerves.
those. Yeah, very frustrating during some of those points. Obviously texting you about some of the stuff. But yeah, no, it feels great to actually win something like this, even before the game. Just being there is big for me. Obviously, being, like you said, a lifelong Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yep. Um, it seems as if Kristaps is fine, more than
Yeah,
fine. Um, I talked about that being one of my things that I felt like they would struggle to. And you know what? Props to your coach bringing him off the bench. I think
yeah,
that was a great decision to try to get him, reacclimated. And he played really well. I mean, I think some of the stuff the Mavericks did where they really kind of like just manned him up really far away from the basket to try to stop his ability for the dribble handoffs and stuff. It worked for a while.
yeah,
But this is the NBA, and not only is it the NBA, it's the two teams that are playing at the highest level in the world right now.
yeah,
And one strategy is not going to last forever. And you saw the Dallas Mavericks make their run, and you saw the Celtics. I think they came out of their timeout with 4.5 left in the third, and I don't think the Mavs made another field goal, or they might have only made one field goal. I left all
yeah.
my notes upstairs. Unfortunately, that was bad on me for not being as prepared as I should be. But yeah, it's kind of funny because that whole third quarter happens, and then the Mavs, I think, won the quarter by 1 point. So
Yeah.
Celtics fans freaking out. Twitter's going crazy. It was really good stuff, and then the Celtics were just like, nah, not exactly.
Right. Let's
So
reel it back in. Yeah. The especially obviously in the first half with Kristaps, I think I was on my feet yelling, "Hey, let's go KP!" loud and clear for all my neighbors to hear me, and maybe
mhm.
even further in the apartment complex than that, they can hear me all the way about by the pool. The defense by PJ Washington, Derek Jones Jr., and anyone else who is smaller than KP, which is pretty much everybody on the floor at being 7'3", just did not work. It was not going to be sufficient enough. And then they brought Derek Lively in the second half to really try to make an impact on him. And he just, I text you, I said, Derek Lively is very quickly getting on my shit list. And it's just for the way he was playing. I can appreciate good physical basketball. I like guys like Jalen Suggs from the Orlando Magic, but I don't like dirty shit, throwing elbows, shoving completely. And, like you text me, he has 5 now. He probably should have 4+, or, 4+, more than what he has now. So very, very frustrating. He ended up getting taken out of the game, getting 5 fouls. So KP didn't make that much of an impact in the second half. He had 18 points at the end of the second, and then finished with 20. He was plus 13 in his plus minus. He made his impact where he was supposed to, got us kicked off. And then everyone else started to take over the game a little bit further, a la Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White, and Jason Tatum is probably going to be a big contention point for people who just look at the box score and didn't actually watch the game. He was fantastic, even though he only went 4 for 16 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3. He still picked up 16 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. Yes, the 6 turnovers is something that we definitely have to reel back on a little bit, but The defense by Jason Tatum was great the entire game. He was fantastic. I like what he did in the game. Yes, we want the shots to fall a little bit more. And if you watch some of those field goals, he had a couple like step to the side threes where they just bounced in and out. He didn't get the bounce on some of those. So a lot of good games from some of these guys. Even if you look at the box score, some of these guys, some of the casuals who didn't watch the game are gonna look at that and say, "Oh, well, clearly he needs to be carried because he didn't have a great game." Looking at the Dallas Mavericks side, what do you think has to change going from game 1 to game 2?
The physicality that they brought to the game, I think, was important for them, and part of the reason why they were able to battle back. I think that if the refs are going to allow it to be that physical, that kind of lends towards their athleticism and their length on defense. I think that if you read an article tomorrow about what needs to change for the Mavs for game 2, it's just really going to be Kyrie. He did not have a good game, although he did have a couple of pretty good highlights, but
yeah,
I was pretty surprised by Porzingis defensively. I was like, because I honestly thought he'd be hampered, man. But shout out to the Celtics. They did not bring him back too early. It doesn't seem. Now, he could re-aggravate it down the line, but Luka did his thing where the harder the shot, just the easier it was for him to make it. He played
so frustrating when he waits for the closeout, and you're just like, if he waits for the closeout, you might as well not close out because he's gonna make it if you close out on him.
Just put it on the board, 1, 2, 3, and let's move on with life. But
right.
Yeah, Kyrie needs to bring. The Celtics have been the deepest, most talented team all year. And Luka can't do it by himself. That's why they made the trade for Luka. That's why they brought in a Washington. Kyrie just needs to do more. And this is pretty eye-opening. I mean, I picked the Mavs to go against you, but I mean, we've said all year it's the Celtics, right? It's the Celtics. Right. It's the Celtics. But watching them come out, and it was a 29-point lead at one point.
Yeah.
And when you have a 29-point lead, you're going to take your foot off the pedal. That's just the nature of what happens in basketball.
And it's what we do all the time. Yeah, it's constant.
These leads don't last. So even though the game kind of got brought back a little bit, you get it to 8, and then they close out the quarter the way they want to, and the game's over. So as a basketball fan, not super excited about the way this game turned out. I would like to, I want all 7 games to end with a game-winning shot, obviously. But right. Yeah, I think we're going to see more of this. I think the Celtics will probably have a bad game at some point, and that'll allow the Mavericks to win. But they're really deep, and their offense just takes on a different level of versatility, and they attack from so many different angles when Porzingis is on the floor. It's just absolutely incredible, and what an absolute baller of a move by your guys' front office to bring him in. So I don't really think outside of, we already talked about it, Kyrie going supernova, Luka going supernova, and the Mavs, just having a third person ascend here. I'm not sure if there's much of a shot. Luka goes for 30 points and 10 rebounds, and the game wasn't even close. So now,
I think we've seen throughout the playoffs a third guy pop up. I mean, just alone with PJ Washington and Derek Jones Jr., along with Gafford as well. But those two guys specifically shooting the 3-point shot, their 3-point percentage from regular season to postseason dramatically rose. Like, those are the guys you want to shoot 3-pointers, and they made it to where they were dangerous from that line completely. And we did let those guys shoot. PJ Washington going 0 from 3, and then Derek Jones Jr. only shooting 2 shots, making one of them 2 for 9 overall. I mean, they were really trying to go at the to the basket after the threes just weren't falling. I mean, you look at the 3-pointers off the bench, you only had Tim Hardaway who shot 1 and missed it, and then you had Josh Green who shot 1, made 1. So it's not fantastic. You look at the rest of the team. PJ Washington 0 from 3. Derek Jones, like I just said, 1 from 2. Gafford obviously doesn't shoot threes. Kyrie 0 from 5, and then Luka going 33% with 4 from 12. So I feel like a lot in these playoffs there has been another guy to step up. We talked about it. Go check out our How to Stop the Mavericks and How to Stop the Celtics videos. But we talked about letting some of those guys shoot. If you leave them open, let those guys shoot, like PJ Washington, Derek Jones. We left them open. They shot it, just not well. So it's exactly what almost brought back down to earth in this game 1. So unless they start catching fire again in game 2 and on, if they can't have another guy step up, it's definitely going to be dangerous
Well,
for
the
that.
other problem with it is if it's going to be Luka that's playing really well and Kyrie's not, Luka turns into this black hole. And I go back to when they traded for Kyrie and Luka was hurt. There was all that talk about how much more enjoyable it was to play with Kyrie because he was passing the ball and getting other players involved. You have to get other players involved and you have to get other players comfortable in this series and with their ability to score. And if Kyrie's not playing well, Luka's not getting those other people involved. Luka's going to feel like he has to take it upon his back. He's going to have to carry the load, and that's just not a successful recipe to beat the Celtics team. So Kyrie has to be a lot better in all phases in this next game for them to have a shot, because Kyrie is what makes the Dallas offense all inclusive. It's what makes everybody get, big shots, big buckets. It's not Luka. Luka is really just the, okay, I'm going to do it myself type of player. So if they want to win the next game, Kyrie has to be involved and he has to get others involved.
Yeah, and I could see the comments from a mile away. Oh, well, Luka's been averaging 9.8 assists per game in the playoffs. We understand that. We know that he gets other teammates involved, but the type of attention that Kyrie Irving garners by himself from the dribble moves and what he does, and garnering another guy off allows him to get other people involved. Luka does a lot of magical things, passing down the court, behind the back stuff that allows him to get those assists. We didn't really see that this game, but we know that he averages a lot of assists per game. We understand.
Yeah, this isn't. It's not an analysis that Luka's a ball hog. Not at all.
Yeah.
But it's just what Kyrie brings when he's playmaking. You saw it tonight. There was a couple times he did with his handles, and he had that. I think he did it to Horford in the corner. It was just went in for an easy layup. When Kyrie is playing well, watching Luka play basketball is exhausting. It's exhausting to watch him play because he is working so freaking hard all over the place to get his shots, and the way he plays and his offense. It's a lot. Kyrie makes things look effortless, and that's a compliment to Luka. The fact that it looks like, oh man, who else would be able to do what he's doing out there on the court? Kyrie, when he's at the top of his game, it's just like it's water, it's fluid motion, and you're just like, wow, that was easy. Oh wow, they just rattled off 9 points. That was easy. So they just need him to step up. Boston being able to deal with it is a physical basketball game, and them dealing with that and excelling at that. Now, the other thing that's going to come out of this series, if it continues to go the way it is Jaylen Brown, NBA Finals MVP coming down. And if he's going to play at that level, if Jaylen Brown is going to be the, no doubt about it, he is the NBA Finals MVP. I don't think there's a shot for the Mavs here because, like you said, if you look at Tatum's box score, it wasn't great. But if you actually watched him play, he played a good game, and it was like, you texted me and you said, I love what he's doing so far. And I'm like, yeah. And the thing is you can't fall into this place where you're not taking shots. Like, you have to take the shots, even if they're not falling, and you have to contribute in other ways. And that's what takes a star level player in this league to superstardom, is when you go out and have a bad shooting night, but you still play great defense. You still rack up a bunch of assists. You get a bunch of rebounds, a block here or two, some steals. You fill up the stat sheet regardless of a poor shooting night. And Tatum, that's what Tatum does. But if Jaylen Brown is going to take it to even the next level, and Kristaps is going to score 20 points a night, good luck. I mean, I'm starting to wonder, what are teams doing in the offseason to combat this? Because they're just gonna run this back, right? How do you beat this Celtics team four times in 7 games? It's
difficult.
Yeah.
And on
shout
the
out
Celtics,
to you. Bright future ahead. I watched this game tonight and I'm like, what the Kings are 17 pieces away. They're 17 pieces away.
Right.
De'Aaron Fox is the third best player on this team, maybe the second best player. I mean, Jaylen Brown can't dribble and he can't go to his left worth of shit. So maybe he's the second, maybe he's the third, right? You know, Sabonis versus Kristaps, whatever. But after that, it's like we got nothing. We need 16 different pieces to. Hey, we saw it. I think the Celtics beat the Kings by 30 in Sacramento. So,
but looking at the Celtics going from game 1 to game 2, a couple of things that I personally want to see improvement wise, because yes, fantastic games, but some of this isn't always going to fall exactly this way. Like Kristaps 8 for 13 is fantastic. 2 for 4. A couple of those 3-pointers, 29 and 30 feet away. Pretty crazy. But a couple of things I want to see. Obviously, Jason Tatum, a couple of those shots falling additionally, but I think something to keep an eye on is the defense of Derek White is obviously fantastic. But it does feel a little bit of a mismatch when Luka was going straight at him because of the size difference. Luka was able to draw the fouls that he wanted to off of Derek White. And then Al Horford got mismatched a little bit here and there, which is something that I brought up as someone that they were probably going to pick on. They did a really good job of hiding it and rotating guys consistently. It's a lot of movement on defense for the Celtics, and they did a good job hiding it. Keep an eye on it. Al Horford's going to continue to get picked on a little bit. Derek White, a little bit concerning, getting picked on by Luka here and there, just little possessions, nothing major, but it is something to watch going forward. And I want to say that the energy, we need to keep the energy from first half to second half. And the thing that brought us back wasn't just the scoring, but man, I think the only thing that's better watching Kristaps shooting a 30-foot 3-pointer and then going crazy for it. I think the next best thing is the block shots. We had Jason Tatum with 1, Al Horford with 2, and both of those were on Luka. Jaylen Brown with 3, sending that shit back to sender on Kyrie Irving, and then 3 for Kristaps. Obviously, the Boston crowd serenading Kyrie Irving every chance that they got. So a couple of the things I just wanted to see moving forward for the Celtics. But just keep doing your thing, make the small adjustments going forward. You won the game, so let's not do anything dramatic to steer the ship into dangerous waters.
Yeah, I mean, is Dallas going to play better in game 2? They sure are. But Are there a lot of things Boston can do better? There sure is. Do you have the stats in front of you?
I do.
Okay, so this is going to be a cheater question because you have the stats in front of you. Do you know how many assists the Mavericks had tonight?
Okay, I won't look at it, okay, because I was about to scroll down. I'm not on the full team stats. I'm going to guess because Luke only had, 1 or 2, which means the rest of the team probably don't have many. I don't want to go too low. 13, 14? Was it more than that?
Bro, they had 9.
Oh, shit.
Do you know how many Tatum had?
Tatum had 6.
He had 5 assists.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum tonight had 5 assists, and the Dallas Mavericks had 9. That's what I mean. Like, don't tell me Luka's a ball hog. I'm not saying Luka's a ball hog, but when Kyrie is not playing well, the Mavs had 9 total assists. You can't win a basketball game with only 9 assists.
Yep. And then getting beat on the rebounding game as well, just by a little bit. But you definitely could tell the difference, especially in the first half. It was very evident. Even when the Celtics would miss a shot, it's the immediate follow up, the corners crashing for the rebound. Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, those guys coming in for a rebound is massive, not just big men.
Luka has played in almost 500 basketball games, right? Mm-hmm. Regular season and playoffs. He's played in almost 500. He's had 7 games in his career where he had 1 assist or less. 7 games. Which, you know what that means is Dallas fans are telling them, it's a fluke, he'll be better. No, what I'm going to tell you is that the Boston Celtics drew up a defensive game plan, and they executed that bitch to absolute perfection.
Yeah.
1 assist from Luka tonight, 2 assists from Kyrie. That is just absolutely – and this team was red hot. This team was scorching red hot. Like, my prediction was, man, I'm going to take the Mavs because those two are playing out of their world right now. And the Celtics just clamped that ass.
Yeah.
Honestly, hopefully the Dallas Mavericks start playing better because I want a 7-game series and I want to enjoy the NBA before it's gone because we're still a couple of months away from football and
right.
Baseball ain't going well for me. So I hope it goes 7. But
right.
9 assists, bro. Shout out to the Celtics. The defense tonight was just
locked down. So, Drew, we have game 2 on Sunday, post-game analysis, probably a little bit later at night due to you coming home late, but we will be on post-game. Anything else to say to the people before we log off?
Yeah, Kyrie Irving has now lost 11 straight games to the Celtics.
Yep.
Yikes.
Ever since he stepped on the logo.
Yeah, shout out to Kristaps, man. He went through an injury and he did not look good for a while there, and I'm happy for him. He's getting his career back on track in a big way. Probably going to win a ring this year as a big time contributor to a team. And shout out to Nimi Queta, my boy. Get him a ring too. So he may not play. Hopefully, I'll smash him by 50 in one of these games. Did Queta play tonight?
No, he didn't.
Damn, up 30, and my boy couldn't get no PT. No PT for Queta. That's too bad. But hey, maybe it'll be game 4. Y'all be up 20 in the 4th, and Queta gets some NBA Finals run. That's what I'm rooting for at this point. So,
right,
Sacramento legend.
We will be back on Sunday for more post-game reaction and analysis. Besides that, everybody have a beautiful weekend. We'll see you on Sunday.
Peace.